everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again to What's in the Box. Today we have something a little different. From time to time I collect latex masks. And this has been going on for 4 or 5 years, but I'm very, very picky about the character that I collect and the masks that I collect. This originally started probably 2018-ish, 2017, when I wanted to throw together a Halloween costume for a friend's party, and I chose to be Leatherface. I picked out a Trick or Treat Studios mask, which was kind of goofy. It had really bad eyebrows, real eyebrows, and then it had a really bad sculpted mouth that had the exposed teeth, and it looked like I could do something with it. And being a bit of an artist myself, I took that mask, cut the mouth out, did some real sewn in sutures on the face, redid the eyebrows, styled the hair, and even did a little bit of a repaint. And it was a hit at my friend's party, and I started to think, these Tots masks aren't too bad. And not too long after that, they actually ended up announcing a Universal Monsters line. And so, me being the creature kid that I am, I had to get a couple of those. So I got the, what was it? Wolfman, Frankenstein, and somewhere in there was also the new Halloween movie coming out. And so they put out a Myers mask. And so I got a Myers mask as well. And I've really enjoyed their masks. Even though they're mass produced, they're quite good for what they are, and especially the price tag. So let's get down to Toxie here. I saw the original Toxic Avenger movie mask pop up, and I was like, we'll see if I pick that up. This came out, which is actually characterized from the animated cartoon. Yes, there was an animated cartoon. I'm not sure anyone my age, about 7 or 8 or around 10, should have been watching the Toxic Avenger movies. It was the 80s, things were violent, and we didn't care. Anyway, off the heels of those movies, someone decided that a cartoon would be amazing. And they produced I believe a short-lived cartoon, which redid Toxie as a more environmental friendly character, introduced a number of mutated friends, and I remember watching it. I remember picking up the figures that came out of it. In particular, I had Toxie. I had, I believe, one of the, and sorry, it's been so long since I watched the cartoon. I had one of the hazmat suited characters, and I believe I had the werewolf character as well. And I do remember them, and I do remember playing with them quite frequently and sort of loving them. So when this mask came up, I was like, okay, Tots does some pretty good masks. We'll see what they do with this. So here we have Toxic Crusader, or the Toxic Crusaders as they were called in the cartoon. And he's quite nice. The sculpt is really sort of fantastic. Of course, a lot of boils and pop marks and things, but the texture is really good here. You can see this sort of craggly texture along his jawline and in some of these boils. There's even little areas of veins popping up, especially along his head. It's pretty darn nice. Of course, you get to the face and you get a really strong jawline, these old nasty teeth, and of course his bug eyes. One of the things I hate about some of these masks is they cut the eyeballs out of them and it just kind of destroys it. I wish they would make masks that were just for hardcore fans that had none of the slits up the back or eye cuts or any of that. But they hide these fairly well under the brow line. There's one here and then another there. And I'm okay with that. Again, back to the sculpt. The sculpt is great. I think it has plenty of details for a mass-produced mask. You can even see some of these boils have popped. It's pretty nasty for anyone that's not a fan of this character. Then, of course, up here we have a real cloth bandana. It's quickly made, but it's okay. You can kind of spin him around here, and you can see it's even tied off here and a little worn. You could come in with an airbrush and change that a little. All you would really need to do is take like an umber, or not a black, but like a dark brown, and come in and just do a little bits of shading around the bandana, and that would make it a little crummier looking. You could even do better tears or better wear on this part of it, but I think overall it's nice for the price point. This was, I think, 50, 59 bucks. He was staring at me there for a second. But yeah, pretty well done. Now when it comes down to the paint, there's really only two colors here outside of the teeth and the eyes. And I mean, what more would you want? I might add in a third color here, but essentially you have a sort of forest green with light sprays of a lime green. You can see this most notably in the boils here. A lot of the shading is in a sort of a dark green or a medium green, and then the very tops of these are in sort of a lime. Not too bad. When it gets to the veins, they are mostly the dark green here. And there is, okay, well, as I'm looking, there's a few more colors, maybe two more. You can see there's sort of a purple color in these pop marks, especially in this one, nice and purpley. And you do get a smattering, a splash of a toxic green. It's most notable in his cheek here. Now, it's really just little flicks of it here and there. And I think that kind of really got off on this cheek. That bothers me a little bit. But again, it is a mass-produced mask. And some of these things aren't too bad. You can check out his back. It does have more of a humpback look to it there. And then we have the slit. Again, not a fan of those things, but what are you going to do? People are meant to wear these. At least this one isn't cut straight down the back, but it does start about mid-back to mid-head. And that's just once you get it through here, it will flex some as your head goes up into it. But, yeah, pretty good. I mean, you come down to the eyes. The eyes are done really well. They kind of crack me up. There's sort of an irritated pinkish color on the outside, an off-white towards the middle, and then his eye color is all done real well. Even the gloss really kicks things off. I'm glad they didn't spread the gloss around everywhere and make him look wet or something like that. So it makes these really pop. His teeth, they pop as well. They've got more of that purple color in between and around the gum lines. And then, of course, they sort of have this craggly cream color and brown inside the teeth and over the teeth. Now the latex is fairly thick. You don't really need it to be super thick, but as you can see there along my hand, it's not quite 1/8 of an inch, but pretty good all the same. Like I said, you don't need these to be super thick. You just need them to not break or tear or anything like that, and that's a thickness that's good enough for that. But yeah, this really brings back memories The wife saw it and was like, ooh, why? And of course, that's the reaction I needed to know that I did the right thing. I bought a Toxic Crusader mask. If you're out there and you're looking for a mask, check out Trick or Treat Studios. Again, I have a handful of them from them. And I think they're the modern equivalent of masks like Dawn Post, and Distortions is still making masks, which I need to some point pick up one or two of theirs. But yeah, if you got a hankering for some 80s nostalgia, particularly Toxic Avenger, Toxic Crusaders, this is the mask for you. Thanks for sticking around and hanging out with me and Toxie. And as always, I'll catch you next time.